Okay, so I don't know how much time I have on this thing. I got an SD card. Hopefully the damn thing lasts. I don't know. But we are, by we, I mean people in general, are having a discussion about the difference between male and female psychology and quote unquote biological makeup and the difference between past societal structures and what it has become now. And people are of this belief that what men do today is the same as what men did in the past. That is to say, that they are comparing going out to hunt to bring back meats and materials and information, even back to the tribal women to skin and to make materials for making clothing, to say manufacturing, with assembly line work or manufacturing in general, is the same as uh, basically going out into work, like factory work or assembly line work. I think that might have been mixed up. So let me break it down, right? If we are to say that hunting, going out into the world and scouting and hunting is the same as working, going out to a factory and doing assembly line work, manufacture. If that's the same thing, explain to me how it's similar, it's the same concept as cooking, skinning, making clothing. It's the same process that tribal women would have used in the past. So, how is factory work masculine? How is the system that we're a part of that makes us into workers, which is to say whores? Let's be real. It's all the same. It's all the same. How the fuck is that a sign of masculinity? So we're looking at the situation and everybody's describing an issue, but they're not looking at the root of the problem while they're putting up answers and comparisons to what masculine and feminine is. None of it is making sense. None of it is really making sense. It's like there's plot holes. There's plot holes. The story is not adding up. And rather than finding the root of the problem, it's like we would rather, or people would rather, these proponents of masculinity would rather find ways in order to justify the current societal structure while they think that they're speaking against it. And this is a problem that we have with religion in general, which a lot of the time people confuse religions, or better yet, they don't realize that religion doesn't have to be, oh, God and Jesus and Krishna and Vishnu or Allah. It doesn't have to be that. Sometimes it's the roads and all this other shit. You get me? So, to say that women had, they served a purpose, they served a role. So when they say something as simple as hunter-gatherers, which is really fucking demeaning and diminishing of what it was that people were in those times, there was much more going on than hunter-gatherer, by the way, because we also had spiritual works as well. It wasn't, I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have the religions that we have now. We wouldn't have the concepts that we have now about gods and all this other shit and astral projection and all these different things. We wouldn't have metaphysical sciences that basically are borrowing from those things. And we have these new people being credited for discovering things that were already spoken about when they're using these concepts to even find these answers in the first place. So I'm walking around with a backpack full of water bottles right now because it just makes me feel better. So if you can hear that whoosh, 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 this swishing around. So what I mean to say is this. the very structure of society itself, technically, if you have this belief system, is the role reversal. You see? You see how, and I'm not saying this to disrespect the women of the past or the work that they did in tribes. What I'm saying is that they worked. They were workers. They worked. They did something. They provided a function. That's not abnormal. That's not abnormal. Did you catch that when I said it the first time? When I said it, when I described what manufacture basically implies? Like, I'm not saying that men can't skin and uh, uh, make clothing or whatever the fuck it is, or cook. I'm not saying that. But if you want to stick to solidified roles, then you got to be able to identify which things match up so that we can actually have a clean, clear conversation and we don't cross wires this way. So, of course, as always, we're going to have outliers, right? We're going to have people who aren't necessarily males who aren't necessarily built for war or built for hunting, and we're going to have women that happen to be very well built and very inclined toward that. This happened in the past. It's not a new thing. So why is the argument about, well, the man is supposed to be able to provide when the whole thing itself, even if you describe a male's role and you describe a female's role, it is still on both sides a matter of providing for the children, for the future of that tribe or the future of that society. What are you talking about? And this is another thing. This is what's actually happened. This is the truth of what happened. This is a part of it. This is a part of it. So if we look, right? If we look at just simple childbirth, right? We know that women carry the children. We know that they provide sustenance while the child is in the body and then when the child comes out of the body. Is that not providing? I mean, giving milk. Is that not providing? That is biologically, when we want to talk about biology, but then we're not talking about what's happening naturally, that's biological. That's providing at a biological level because the body is developing these things to provide naturally, right? So what it seems to me is this. There is a level of insecurity when it comes to being a guy. You see, we're all fucked up over the idea that we aren't valued unless we do something. Please pay very close attention to that because every single male proponent of this message has brought this up. And many of them basically claim that this is a natural thing, right? That, oh yeah, there we go. Woo, yeah, it's a line now. Okay. That we should provide some type of value, that we should be a utility, right? But does that not stem from the insecurity of seeing someone who is of value, who is of use, and feeling like you have to prove yourself, you have to be something or someone in some way that provides some kind of value? And I'm not saying that guys are worthless, but we have to make this shit clear because look at we really do have a problem. There really is a problem. there really is a problem, right? So we have to look at it, right? Ultimately, the problem that women have with the way things are is that, well, obviously everybody's become confused. Everybody's become confused. The structure has led to confusion. So, how does that work? Where is that coming from? Well, first off, there is an inherent insecurity in a guy for feeling like he does not have a natural way to provide without even being able to do utilitarian things. Okay, I'm not even. This isn't scripted. I'm trying to make sure I stay on while I'm cooking and everything. I'm just finished, and I'm like, I gotta add these onions, and every time I turn around and look at them, I'm like, I gotta add them. I don't have to, but this has been shown time and time again. There's always this idea that the biggest and the strongest should be the leaders, right? But oftentimes, when that happens, whenever there's like an overthrowing of the leadership who seem to be physically weak or something like that, who was more inclined toward mental capabilities, mental capacity, which is to say balance between the body and the mind, being able to actually strategize and think about, well, I mean, I want to say optics, but think about um, what those actions, what being a brute in the future. So humanity, of course, will fail again if everybody keeps on going like with the narrative that males are supposed to be brutes, and that's what makes them the leaders. Being physically strong only is, well, that's obvious. That's the obvious reason that guys should lead, and women, they have all these hormonal changes and therefore can't lead because yada 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 yada. All this is there without even taking into account or even looking to see if anything was altered in the past, which many people who are spiritually inclined have been trying to fucking point out to you people, that there was something that changed, that humanity, quote unquote humanity as a whole, if you want to fucking think of it that way, has been altered throughout time. And as a matter of fact, humanity is still being altered to the point where now we can't even talk about it. I mean, to the point where we can't even talk about it. We got a whole new wave of genetic changes down the fucking pipeline. And it's all happening right now. It happens through food consumption, alteration. It happens through these injections that we have. It happens through psychological means, changing what it is that we want, even out of each other at a natural level. How things become normal, how things that are naturally a part of us become what we believe is integral to life. So humanity basically just obeys to those terms and conditions. We just go, well, yeah, well, obviously we need this and that and yada yada. That's where we are, and that's where we are in the world. And then we end up missing, you know, even when we end up missing when those things become or are actually not that important and become detrimental to our ability to see that which is inherent or natural in many people, natural talents, natural gifts. As a matter of fact, will be twisted. Humanity has been twisted in so many ways that people just automatically hate that which is naturally inclined toward this or that or the other. When you see how uh, these twists and these turns, this shit that's happened, has basically created a world where the slimiest, sneakiest motherfuckers, the most dishonest, dishonorable people are actually uh, more equipped to make it in this world. You can't just go and cut a motherfucker's head off. Or you can. You can physically. You could physically. For running a smear campaign in the background, or triangulating you, turning people against you to make you look bad, right? You know, and how bad does that get? How far does that go? How far can that go? I mean, shit, you lose your whore job at a company. You lose your whoring job, your where you just manufacture. I'm not saying the manufacturer is whoring, but let's think about this, right? When a pimp has a fucking stable, right? Do they not owe him what it is that they earn through selling their bodies? Well, it's protection money, right? They call it protection money. The mafias use this, and so does the IRS. Okay? And I'm not trying to start a fight with the fucking IRS. But I mean, if there are human fucking beings or people with actual functioning minds who aren't these things that have been labeled as narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths who work for these people, or just flat the fuck out cowards, flat the fuck out, who basically, and not only that, just unintelligent people who can't see any other way, who agree with the way these things are done, then please, I'm not starting a fight with you. I'm just saying, chill the fuck out and think a little bit. Just think a little bit. Is the